You know something, guys? You know something? I love Digital Foundry. I legit love Digital Foundry. Let me tell you why I love Digital Foundry. Because when they do a video, the excuses come rolling in. They come rolling in, ladies and gentlemen. They come rolling in. Let me go ahead and stop beating around the bush. Actually, before I get into that, you guys still went on the giveaway. Make sure you comment below. We're giving away Uncharted 4, the collector's edition. We're giving that away. Saturday, I'm announcing the winner, so make sure you comment below. Let me know if you guys want in on the game. Just comment below, say you want in. I'll write your name down. I already got everybody who said they wanted in from the last video. So just go ahead, write your name, or just say you want in, and I'll put you in on the contest. And Saturday, you're going to see me do live what I'm doing right here. I'm going to have a random name picker, and I'm going to announce the winner there, okay? That's what I'm going to do. But anyway, as you guys clearly see right here, True 4K isn't the best way to play Rise of the Tomb Raider. Now, the reason why I love Digital Foundry, again, is because when they do a video, when they give you the analysis, the excuses come rolling in, and then the morons just come pouring in, saying people are jealous. I highly doubt people are going to be jealous of what I'm about to show you. So, as you clearly see, it says True 4K isn't the best way to play Rise of the Tomb Raider on the Xbox One X. Why? Because the game runs like a joke on the Xbox One X at True 4K. Yes, at 4K mode, this game runs at terrible frames per second. Terrible. And this is coming from a console, right? That was dubbed as the We Heard You console. Remember? Do I need to refresh your memory? Let's roll the clip.
This console is 100% for you guys. We read the articles, we read the reviews. It's the We Heard You console.
Yeah, the We Heard You console, okay? The We Heard You console. So if it's the We Heard You console, why are we having frame rate drops? Why are we not having consistent frames? Why are we having this and that and third? Why don't we have all this? Oh, don't worry. I'm about to get into that because I already know the fanboys are going to type away. Hey, Josh, you moron. Yeah, not really. You see, when this console first came out, they said the highest res, the best frame rate, no compromises.
The highest res, the best frame rate, no compromises.
4K 60, uncompromises, okay? We're able to render at 60 hertz and everything, you know, fully uncompressed pixels, everything, right? At a higher fidelity. Now, with that being said, with 4K 60 being said out their mouths, why is it that we have to turn down the settings? Because remember, this game, they're hyping this game up. This game has 3 modes, ladies and gentlemen. 3. Not 2, but 3 modes. Okay? It has 4K mode, which the game runs at a joke on. It has enriched mode, which is checkerboard rendered. Yes, it's checkerboard rendered, but it's checkerboard rendered 4K at 30 frames per second. Ironically, at checkerboard rendered 30 frames per second, the game runs like a charm. It runs flawless at 30 frames per second at checkerboard rendered 4K. Okay, and even Digital Foundry called out, which I said, which a lot of you fantards agreed with, and you didn't even know you agreed with what I said too, but I've been saying for months. Most of you morons won't be able to tell the difference between native 4K and checkerboard 4K when you're on YouTube, and that is very true. Look at I'm gonna show the video, but most of you are going to come to that conclusion, and you're going to be looking salty as hell. And I told you months ago. You know what I'm saying? But you have that mode, which the game runs flawless in, right? Then you have high frame rate mode, which is basically 1080p 60. At 1080p 60, this game can't even run at a lock 60 frames per second. For most of the demo, the game ran pretty smooth. It ran damn near flawless for the most part. But when it got to the end, the game started chuckling frames. Now, I find that funny. This thing is called a beast. Remember, it's a monster. This thing has, you know, it's a console with no limitations, no boundaries, right? Do I need to, let's go ahead and let's insert that clip.
This is the console that developers asked us to build. They wanted a console that had no boundaries, had no limitations.
Yeah, it's a console with no boundaries, no limitations. It has, you know, all this. Okay, cool. They're really going for it and all that, right? Yet, we're getting these retarded results. But it was even more telling, right? If I go on YouTube right now and I look up Digital Foundry, I tell you one game that actually looked way better than this game. And guess what? It's not even 4K. It's not even 1080p. It's Super Mario Odyssey. Super Mario Odyssey looks beautiful. And that game's not even 4K. It runs beautiful, and the game looks beautiful. And it looks like endless fun compared to Rise of the Tomb Raider. I played Rise of the Tomb Raider, okay? You guys need to check my trophies. It's on the channel. I platinum Rise of the Tomb Raider. I'm telling you guys right now, it ain't nothing to be hyped for. It ain't. It ain't nothing to be hyped for. The game, the story's not that great. It's by far the weakest of the new Tomb Raider games. It is. It's weak. It is not a good Tomb Raider game to be hyping up. Sorry. It's not. But notice how all of these older games are getting these performance increases, right? But yeah, you don't hear nothing about these new games, right? You don't hear nothing about these new games. You don't hear nothing about these third-party games. All these third-party games saying, oh yeah, these games are just down to third. You know, they're dynamic 4K. They're upscale. You know what I'm saying? I find that funny. I find that funny. But dudes really think that people are going to jump ship for this console. They really think people are going to jump ship. I'm just going to go ahead and end the video with the Digital Foundry video to prove my point. Because basically this article summarizes what I said numerous times. And the video also is going to summarize what I said. Most of the stuff you guys are hyping up is going to be minor. It ain't going to be like no PS2 to PS3 jump. No, it's going to be minor. And all this hyping up of graphics and everything else, and talking about CPUs and vapor cooling, you guys just sound like PC guys. It is pathetic, and you guys don't want to acknowledge that. It's fine, you don't gotta acknowledge that. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have to deal with that because you all sound stupid. And all this over a piece of plastic, resulting in racism and all this stupid stuff. It's stupid, man. But at the end of the day, that's what's going on with you guys, and that's why I continue to clown you, and that's why all of you will continue to be endless, and I mean endless entertainment from me, my subscribers. Shout out to all the new subs. Welcome to the channel. That's it. I'm out of here. Let's go ahead and roll the clip, and I'm gonna get on out of here, and you guys can hear from the broken one. You guys have a good night. Deuces.
There's one other potential issue in this demo as well, and that is performance. While the frame rate is reasonably steady most of the time, the busier sections do drop below 30 frames per second with mild tearing when using the native 4K mode. Now, we don't see any tearing on the PlayStation 4, mind you, but the original Xbox One version does also make use of an adaptive VSync solution, so really this is nothing new on Microsoft's platform. Now, these same areas do manage to run consistently on the Pro in comparison, but there are busier scenes later in the game, such as the Geothermal Valley, which definitely exhibits slowdown when using the checkerboard 4K mode on the Pro. Which means at the moment, the native 4K mode on Xbox One X is probably going to need some additional work before it's ready for prime time. But again, this is just a demo, so we'll have to wait and see. It's also worth keeping in mind that any non-interactive cutscenes like this one run with VSync enabled, and the water in this scene definitely causes problems for the system in native 4K mode. So with slowdown to worry about, what's a Tomb Raider to do then? Why, use the best mode in the demo, of course, the enriched 4K mode. Essentially what we're seeing here is a reconstruction technique similar to checkerboard rendering used to produce a pixel count of 2160p, just like on the Pro. Unlike the Pro, however, this is used in conjunction with the enriched mode, which offers improved details such as tessellation, improved LODs, and more. The enriched option on the Pro is, of course, just limited to 1080p in comparison. So not only does it look great on Xbox One X, it also offers better performance. The areas which struggled to hold 30 FPS in native 4K mode now run without a hitch. Yes, you lose some fidelity when using sparse rendering, which is similar to checkerboard rendering, but as we've been saying over the last year, it gets very close to delivering a 4K image. Can you spot the difference between native 4K resolution and sparse rendering? The two manage to look extremely similar. Very impressive results. And just to give you an idea of how it's running in enriched mode, here's the most demanding gameplay sequence from the demo. Unlike the native 4K mode, however, the Xbox One X simply chews through the scene without problem when using the enriched sparse rendering mode. When combined with the extra visual details and smoother performance, this could turn out to be the very best way to play Rise of the Tomb Raider on consoles. And now it's time for the high frame rate mode. As the name implies then, this is a mode with a higher overall frame rate, but not one promising a locked 60 frames per second, hence its absence in the name. Now despite that, the demo at least comes very close to hitting a locked 60 frames per second. The drop in resolution is certainly noticeable here, but the improvement in fluidity and controller response makes for a nice change of pace. It simply feels fantastic to play in this mode, as we've learned from playing the PC version at 60 frames per second. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite last. You see, the very last section of the demo does exhibit minor slowdown and tearing compared to the rest of the level. Now, to be fair, these dips are rather minimal in this particular area, but this also happens to be one of the least demanding levels in the game. So if we're seeing minor dips here in the Prophet's Tomb, then it's fair to assume that later areas like Geothermal Valley, for instance, will struggle to hit 60 frames per second. At least we can confirm that it's faster than the PlayStation 4 Pro version running in its high frame rate mode. The Pro drops more frames here in comparison to the Xbox One X, so we're still seeing an overall improvement in frame rate consistency. We'll just have to wait until the final release to fully understand just how much of an improvement this is, however. Ultimately, this demo is just our first encounter with this particular iteration of the game.
I'll have to ask my accountant about that.
Delete! Delete! Delete!